At the beginning of the movie, a forest is being cleared to make way for railway lines. A local shaman requests the authority to call it off, threatening that the consequences will be more painful than death. However, he is thrown out, and he warns that no one, not even God, will be able to help them. Later that night, Darto and his friend Payman continue working past their shift due to financial difficulties. After a while, Darto starts experiencing strange occurrences, and Payman disappears. When Darto begins searching for him, he discovers that a terrifying entity has killed Payman, which frightens him terribly. Next, the scene shifts to a railway station, where the opening of Sankara Resort is being celebrated. We then see Purnima and her sister Kembang, who have come to visit Sankara Resort. Purnima tells Kembang that, according to the brochure, they will be passing through 5 newly built railroad tunnels. Then some women there start crying and screaming, asking for their husbands to be returned. These women are likely the wives of the workers who went to build the railway tunnels but never returned. Siddiq, the conductor on duty, welcomes everyone to the Sankara train, a special tourism train with a route to Sankara Resort. He explains that the journey will take 7 hours and they are expected to arrive at Sankara Resort by 7 p.m. Finally, the train departs, and we see Darto's wife Ramla also traveling on the train. She then spots Darto on the train and is shocked to see him. She immediately goes to where she saw him, but he is no longer there. Now, before she can understand what is happening, she spots Darto again in the pantry car, but when she reaches there, she finds that he is not there. She asks the stewardess about the man she saw wearing a worker's uniform, but the stewardess says there was no one like that here. Ramla sees Santoso, the resort owner, sitting there, but the steward stops her, saying economy class passengers are not allowed there. Santoso asks Bara about the incident at the station, to which Bara explains that they were locals, protesting against the station office for firing some employees. Santoso mentions he doesn't want to dwell on it, but the incident embarrassed him in front of the investors, noting that such incidents can tarnish their tourism image. Meanwhile, Kembang notices a crow flying alongside the train that suddenly hits the window. She tells Purnima that she thought she saw a bird, and suddenly, Purnima starts feeling strange and tells Kembang that she is going to the washroom. When Purnima goes out, she finds that the bathroom in her coach is busy, so she goes to another coach. We then see Purnima vomiting, and Payman's ghost appears in the mirror. The train enters the first tunnel, and Siddiq notices something is wrong with the door of the economy class coach and asks Dawn to go and check. When Purnima does not return for a long time, Kembang goes out to check on her, and suddenly the lights start flickering, and she also realizes that Purnima is not in that washroom. Meanwhile, a little girl sees another girl, who suddenly appears in a demonic form inside the coach, scaring her so much that she falls down. Just then, Dawn arrives there and sees something horrifying. The train then comes out of the tunnel, and Kembang finds Purnima and tells her that she was worried about her. She notices that she threw up and says, once they get there, they have got to see a doctor. Purnima notices something strange, and both of them are shocked to see that the coach in which they were a while ago has disappeared. They both meet Tekun and tell him that the 5th coach is missing, and he too gets shocked to see this. Tekun does not understand what has happened and closes the door. However, when a man comes to use the bathroom, he discovers that the 5th coach is missing, and he creates a ruckus, alerting everyone to the situation. Tekun tries to calm everyone down, explaining that there was a small technical glitch and everything has been taken care of. He explains that the missing coach was left in the tunnel momentarily and will soon follow them to the resort. Purnima goes to the toilet again, and while Kembang is waiting for her, she gets a call from Dr. Nugroho. He tells her that Purnima hasn't picked up his calls since last week and that she must have a health check immediately because her liver cancer surgery was unsuccessful. Now when Purnima returns, Kembang tells her about the doctor's call and that he told her everything. She asks why Purnima didn't tell her, saying she is the one who keeps her company, but she still lied to her. Purnima explains that she just wanted to spend time with her. She feared that if she knew, she wouldn't want to go on the trip and they wouldn't be there right now. Kembang insists that they could spend their time together in the hospital, to which Purnima asks if she really wants her to spend the rest of her time in the hospital. She says she's tired of taking so many medicines every day and would rather be with her, enjoying the beautiful scenery, than in a hospital where she can only see the walls. Kembang pleads, saying there are many treatments they haven't tried yet, and if she leaves her, she will have to live with their father, who doesn't care about them. She says she is all she has, and she doesn't want her to leave her like that. Meanwhile, Takun notices some strange substance on the train's electric panel, and as he turns around, he sees the ghosts of the workers who vanish. But when he looks closely, he sees them again, and they vanish again. Just then, Siddiq arrives, and Takun tells him that he just saw people covered in blood. But Siddiq doesn't believe him, and says the driver's radio is short-circuited, so they can't contact the control center. Siddiq asks what happened to the electrical panel, and Takun explains that he came to contact emergency services, but everything is malfunctioning. He also tells him about the missing fifth car, which shocks Siddiq, who says it's impossible because it takes a special procedure to separate the cars. However, when Takun insists that the fifth car is missing, Siddiq says that if it's true, Santoso should not know about this until they can figure out the cause. He asks Takun to handle the economy passengers of the fourth car procedurally. Takun goes to Purnima and Kembang and tells them that it's just a minor technical issue and that the departure station staff has handled it well. He assures them that their luggage will be taken to the resort immediately. Purnima asks about the passengers in that coach, and Takun replies that they will catch up to the resort soon. As the train enters the second tunnel, Takun informs them that they will be transferred to economy class in the fourth car and will also receive bonus points that they can use for their next trip. Meanwhile, the passengers in the VIP class hear eerie laughter, which makes them all a bit scared. However, it turns out to be a passenger who is laughing while looking at something on her phone. On the other hand, a group in the fourth coach is enjoying the trip by singing and playing music, when suddenly one of the men starts choking. Soon, two more men also begin choking. The rest of the passengers in the coach are shocked to see this and try to give water to the man. However, the man grimly predicts that they all will die and then collapses on the floor. A girl in the group tells them that they cannot escape the punishment that will befall them. Another man questions how they can be so greedy, while a woman remarks that the time has come without them realizing it, and they won't be able to evade this catastrophe. They then hear an eerie laughter, and Adam becomes terrified upon seeing an entity present in their coach, which is only visible to him through the camera. The entity eventually reveals itself to everyone, causing great fear among the passengers. It then moves towards Adam and kills him, witnessed by Kembang with her own eyes. Suddenly, that coach becomes separated from the train, and when Purnima and Takun rush there hearing Kembang scream, they are shocked to find the coach has completely disappeared. Kembang tells Purnima that it seems like those passengers were being held captive by something non-human, and she wants to get out of there. Hearing the commotion, Bara and Santoso also come out and ask what's wrong. Just then, Santoso notices that the coaches are missing, and he is shocked to see it. He asks Bara if he knows something about this, but Bara remains silent. Santoso then asks Takun how this happened, to which he says he doesn't know. Ramla says that one tunnel and one car missing. It might have been a coincidence, but with it happening twice, it must be a warning. She believes this is not a technical issue but something beyond their control. Bara dismisses Ramla's concerns, questioning how their small area could develop if people think as illogically as she does, attributing everything to superstition. Kembang interjects, saying she saw with her own eyes that all the passengers in that coach gathered in the center, surrounded by some creatures. Bara dismisses Kembang's account and reassures Santoso to take it easy, explaining that the cars were likely just left in the tunnels. He asks Takun if he has contacted the control center yet, to which Takun responds that the conductor is in constant communication with them. Bara suggests they return to the cabin, but Santoso asks him to go ahead. And as he leaves, Santoso takes Takun aside and tells him that he has to make the fourth car a priority before the press makes horrible stories about them. However, Takun explains that their radio and antenna are down. Meanwhile, Bara is shocked to see moss on a chair, which he quickly cleans up before anyone else notices. He immediately goes to Siddiq to tell him about the missing coaches, to which Siddiq says he was just about to inform him. Bara asks Siddiq to communicate with the control center, but Siddiq explains that the communication devices have suddenly malfunctioned. Bara insists they need to get to the resort station as soon as possible, and, once they arrive, send a team to evacuate the passengers in the missing cars. He suggests taking the passengers to the resort, providing them with VIP class services, and asking them to sign agreements not to sue them. Siddiq points out that this plan hinges on finding the missing cars, and questions what will happen if they can't find them. Siddiq then shows Bara CCTV footage of the fifth coach, revealing that the demon is real. Bara, shocked, instructs Siddiq to delete the footage, assuring him that his contacts in the police department will handle it. He also mentions a woman who seems to know about these demons, and tells Siddiq not to let her influence the passengers in the other cars. Siddiq goes to Santoso and tells him that he should go back to the VIP cabin. Santoso offers them to enjoy the VIP facilities as a token of apology, but Siddiq tells him that the VIP cabin is fully booked, to which Santoso tells them that Tikkun will provide them with good services. As they are leaving, Ramla stops Santoso and tells him that her husband, who built the railroad for Sankara, never came home again, to which Santoso responds that he entrusted the whole matter to Bara and doesn't know anything, even about her husband. Later, Purnima confronts Tikkun, accusing him of lying about the missing coaches. She demands to know what is going on, to which Tikkun insists that he honestly doesn't know what happened and isn't sure if they will get help. Purnima says he should have explained this from the very beginning, to which he replies that he was just following orders from his boss. Suddenly, Purnima starts feeling unwell and heads to the washroom. Just then, 3 girls come out of the VIP coach and complain to Tikkun about putting other passengers there. Meanwhile, Purnima notices blood in her vomit, which makes her increasingly worried. The train enters the 3rd tunnel, and Santoso tells Inda to attend and serve the customers. Sika pleads with Santoso to allow her to join in, as she is scared of being alone here. But he denies, saying he don't want her condition to draw the passengers' attention. After a while, they hear Susie's screams from the pantry car, and Santoso tries to calm the passengers. They then go to the pantry car looking for Susie, and are shocked to see it destroyed. Suddenly, they hear a demonic growl, and to their horror, see a demonic entity sitting there. Santoso instructs Inda to slowly move out, and tells everyone to remain silent and get into the 2nd coach immediately. However, as they begin to leave, their bodies become stiff, rendering them unable to move, and the next moment, they find themselves surrounded by demonic entities. In a desperate attempt to save their lives, they try to get out somehow. However, Maya, in fear, falls, drawing the demon's attention towards her. As they approach her, Maya picks up a knife and warns them to back off. However, the demons take control of her hand, forcing her to slit her own throat, which terrifies the remaining passengers. The initial demon then appears, causing even more fear among the group, and as they try to run away, the demon kills one of them by crushing his head. Purnima gets terrified seeing the gruesome scene, and she calls out to Tikkun. Inda pleads with Tikkun to open the door, and they even try to help, but the door won't budge. And before their eyes, that coach also gets separated from the train and remains inside the tunnel. They all rush to the 2nd coach, where a man asks how the 3rd coach disappeared, to which Purnima says that they don't have time to explain. Tikkun tells Siddiq that they have to stop the train before entering the 4th tunnel, or else the 2nd coach will disappear too. Just then, Bara arrives and says he already suspected these 3 economy class passengers, questioning how they could have survived despite the disappearance of the other coaches. He and Siddiq accuse the 4 of them, claiming they plan to get rid of the lower class coaches one by one, and then stop the VIP coaches at an isolated place to rob them. Purnima says they can't rob anyone without weapons, to which Bara says if they can disengage the cars, who knows what else they can do. One of the men, named Chris, declares he won't let them rob him and his belongings. Only then Ramla points towards the approaching 4th tunnel, and Purnima suggests they move to the next car, or they will all die. However, Chris attacks her. Bara returns to the VIP cabin and asks everyone to calm down, explaining that there has been a robbery in the back car, but assuring them that he won't let the robbers get into their car. Meanwhile, Bara, Purnima, and Kembang fight Chris, but in the struggle, Purnima accidentally stabs Chris with a bottle, resulting in his death. Seeing this, the other passengers accuse them of being murderers and grab them. However, Purnima warns them to let go, and all 4 of them manage to escape from the coach. Since Siddiq had locked the door of the VIP cabin, the 4 of them break its glass and try to get inside. However, the other passengers also arrive, and Takun explains that they have to move to the first car immediately, because every time they enter a tunnel, that abomination appears. Meanwhile, the train enters the tunnel, and instead of listening to Takun, the passengers start beating him and knocking him down. However, before they can kill him, a sudden eerie scream stops them, and they are horrified to see the entity has arrived in the second coach. Taking advantage of the situation, Takun escapes into the first car as the entity begins killing the passengers in the second coach one by one. Siddiq lets the 4 of them enter the first coach, and then the second coach also gets separated from the train and remains in the tunnel. Bara takes the keys from Siddiq, saying he will stop the train. However, when he enters the driver's compartment, he orders the driver to increase the speed. Outside, Siddiq tells everyone that Bara will stop this train and everything will be fine, but when they realize that the train is picking up speed, they go towards the driver's compartment, and Siddiq orders the driver to open the door. As the driver opens the door, Siddiq orders him to reduce the speed and stop the train. Bara tries to stop him, and in the struggle, Bara kicks Tekun out of the train and dies. The driver then applies the brakes, causing the train to stop in the forest, right in front of that tunnel. After this, they tie Bara inside the train, and Purnima says he must pay for what he did to Tekun. Barar says he thought if this first car disappears in the 5th tunnel, the driver and he must get to the resort as soon as possible and immediately send help to evacuate them all. But they do not believe him, and an investor asks how they can get to that resort station without this train. Purnima says the resort station is not far from here, so they can walk through the forest to get there. Meanwhile, Ramla asks Bara about her husband, to which he says he don't know. She then tells the investors that her husband worked for them, and he has never complained about his work, and she reveals that the women at the station were looking for their husbands and brothers. Siddiq confronts Bara, telling him that they are all suffering the consequences of his actions. In a flashback, we see that Bara, driven by greed for more money, desires to route the railway line through the forest. A local shaman named Ramat advises him against it. He cautioned him that the forest is inhabited not by ordinary demons, but by entities no faith can subdue, and no rituals or sacrifices can appease them. Siddiq reveals that Bara purposely assigned him to this train to prevent his secret from being exposed. They all emerge from the train, and Kembang recalls that they need to go around this tunnel. Suddenly, they hear an eerie scream, and to their horror, they spot a demon emerging from within the tunnel. 2 people are then swiftly dragged into the bushes one by one, intensifying their terror as they witness the demon now outside the tunnel. Purnima realizes that the demons are emerging not because of the tunnel but due to the darkness. Overcome with fear, they scatter in different directions, and inside the train, Bara discovers that one of the investors is still present, but she is possessed by a demon. She demands to know why he had to destroy her forest, insisting that humans were wrongly placed on Earth by God. Trembling with fear, Bara pleads for forgiveness, but the demon reveals its true form and advances towards him, ultimately killing him. Meanwhile, Siddiq finds himself surrounded by the demons, who proceed to kill him, and on the other hand, the demon possesses Purnima. Afterward, it is revealed that the demons had transformed all the passengers into trees. However, Purnima and Kembang have not fully transformed yet. Kembang tearfully expresses her desire to go home, but before they can do anything, she gradually turns into a tree, right before Purnima's eyes, leaving her helpless to intervene. Somehow, Purnima manages to break free and encounters the demon once more. Desperate, she pleads with the demon to take her instead of her sister, but the demon only smiles and vanishes, leaving Purnima alone and alive. Shortly afterward, all the tunnels collapse and seal shut. 6 months later, we find Purnima with Ramat, questioning why the demons didn't simply kill Bara initially. Ramat explains that Bara's death alone wouldn't prevent others like him from arising. Purnima then asks why she is still alive, to which Ramat replies that they view humans as mere soil, and she is considered less fertile soil to them. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.